Okay, so I don't know what happened there. We're going to try again. Facebook seemed to have cut us off for something that said the broadcast ended, but we are back. Let's do that again. So yeah, so like I said, what we're going to be talking about in today's episode of More Sales Every Single Day is all about your front end acquisition, your front end funnel, and what you can do to optimize your front end funnel so to allow you to acquire maximum amount of customers, maximum amount of clients and sales consistently and predictably. And hopefully Facebook won't kick us off again. I'm not too sure what happened, but just let me know that you can see me coming through loud and clear, and you can hear me coming through, and hopefully we won't have any more tech issues. But yeah, so the topic for today is all about front-end acquisition, optimizing your funnels for maximum front-end customers, maximum front-end sales. Super, super excited to dive in. Got a lot to share from Todd. It's going to be behind the scenes, it was a behind the scenes Q&A type of session, where Todd was being asked from people in the crowd questions related to front-end marketing, questions related to optimization, and questions related to acquiring customers quickly, consistently, and predictably. And we're going to be sharing all those nuggets with you very, very soon. Stay tuned. So like I said, my name is John Mullery, Director of Marketing for Todd Brown, and you are very, very welcome to another episode of More Sales Every Single Day like clockwork. And today we're talking about one of the two critical components of how we as direct response marketers set up our businesses and set up our how we engineer our funnels and our profits and everything else. And that's the front end, and we have our back end. And we're going to be talking specifically about the front end today, front end optimization, optimizing our campaigns on our front end that allow us to acquire customers at scale, allow us to acquire customers consistently and predictably, because as we're filling up our front end, we then have fuel for the fire in our back end. And the fire in the back end is what's really going to ignite our business, but we have to be able to fuel that fire, and we fuel that fire with our front end customer acquisition. So we're going to be talking about optimizing your front end campaign. So whether you're using front end funnels, no matter what type of front end funnel you're using, it doesn't really matter. It's all about acquiring customers at a front end. Hopefully, at you're acquiring them, and your cost to acquire a customer and your average order value. Hopefully, they're the two metrics that you're focusing on. They are the two metrics you should be focusing on. Primarily, your average order value, because obviously, the more you can increase someone's spends with you on average on day zero when they become a customer, the more you can actually go out there to spend to actually acquire a customer. And then in your back end over the next 30, 60, 90, 180 days, 365 days, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, you can increase the lifetime value of that client, that customer. And that's essentially the model we use as direct response marketers to scale our offers. So with that being said, I've got a clip from Todd, where Todd is breaking down some optimization points on a front-end funnel and talking about optimizing a front-end campaign in terms of, should we use ugly landing pages versus not? Should we have more copy or less copy? And lots of different questions, and Todd is going to answer them candidly and honestly in terms of how he engineers his front-end funnels and how he helps our clients and students engineer their front-end funnels through our E5 Acquisition Accelerator program. So I hope you enjoyed the clip, and afterwards we'll have a quick Q&A based on what Todd has shared in the video. If there's any questions, just take them down as you're going through, and then we can cover them afterwards in the Q&A portion. Super excited to share this. I know you're going to get an awful lot from it, so let's dive in.
What are some things that you do when you're just optimizing the front to identify, is it the argument, is it the positioning, is it the targeting? What are some indicators or maybe next steps that you would do to optimize the first step in the funnel?
So assuming that, let's say, before we get to that point, first and foremost, so this is assuming that we've tested the funnel, and let's say the funnel is, close to break even, let's say, and now what we do is, and when you'll notice that I said, right, it's close to break even, so the only number that I care about is ROI, right? First and foremost for me, the only number I care about, I told a story in the other room about, I don't care about opt-in rate, I don't care about sales conversion rate. You can't deposit opt-in rate, you can't deposit sales conversion rate. We're not in the business of generating opt-ins or opt-in rate or sales conversion rate. But those are valuable metrics, especially opt-in rate, sales conversion rate, order form abandonment rate, and upsell take rate when we're optimizing a funnel. And so before we optimize a funnel, we're going to look to find the constraint in the funnel. Many of you have heard me talk about this before. What we're really doing is we're looking at the funnel as if it's a chain. Every one is a link, and we're looking for the weakest link, right? The strength of the chain is determined by the weakest link. The way you strengthen the chain is by strengthening the weakest link. So we're not going to optimize anything other than the constraint. So all that being said, now let's say that the opt-in page is the constraint, and so which is it's usually it's an interesting thing. It's usually not the constraint in a funnel where you're at break even. Like, in other words, usually when you're not breaking even and the funnel isn't doing well, oftentimes you'll find that the opt-in page is really low. And when we typically test a new funnel, we use a very plain Jane, straightforward opt-in page. It's usually like a headline. Sometimes it's a pre-head, and then a headline, and then a button, which is a two-step opt-in form. So we don't use, we don't put a gigantic image on the page. We don't start off with bullets. We don't start off with all these whiz-bang things. And that's because what I initially want to test is I want to test the viability of our idea, right? And so I don't want to look, the reality is this is the reality, right, wrong, or indifferent, that for most folks in this room, at times myself included, the more copy you add to a page, the greater the likelihood that someone's not going to opt in, right? And so if you put a quote-unquote headline on a Facebook ad and it got somebody to click, and and now you've got all these bullets, somebody can make a determination to not opt in based on one of those bullets. And so I'm going to take the headline from the Facebook page, from the Facebook ad, and I'm going to put it on our opt-in page, and I'm going to make things really simple. And so it's a rarity when you are when you're if your funnel isn't breaking even. It is often where the opt-in page is just not doing well, and that's because the idea just stinks. And it just doesn't. Wow, 10 minutes already, and it just doesn't resonate. With that being said, some of the things that will change. First off, we will change the format. And so, this is not an easy question to answer because, in different markets, in some markets, you have to have a nice looking page. Like when you're dealing with professionals, when you're dealing with attorneys, oftentimes, no matter what, I know it's been said that an ugly page, ugly converts really well. There are some markets where it does not convert really well. But we'll start with a radically different page layout. Then we'll also often test restating the headline. Now, again, tough question to answer because if we're getting a good click-through rate on our Facebook ad with that headline, then typically it's not the headline, and typically we're going to start with the layout of the page. If the click-through rate on the Facebook ad is mediocre or even below average, and the opt-in rate and the opt-in page is the constraint, then we will test a different headline on the landing page. And then these guys, then they go wild. Like Damien will test a different call to action on the button. And it is amazing how on an opt-in page, when you don't have that many elements, that the opt-in, the call to action on the opt-in button, I was showing tests of the call to action, the what we have above the opt-in form. So we've tested step 1, we've tested you're on your way, almost done. So you can test the language above the opt-in form. Test the button color. I know that, and I hate these kind of little small things, but when you're talking about the opt-in page for a funnel that is at break even and now it's about optimizing that opt-in page, then it is the little things. And so we found that in our tests, a button that is color, it's like the hex color is CC0000. For whatever reason, I have no idea why, but it doesn't matter why. That color outpulled like green, it outpulled orange. Yeah, we tested it against black, and so those are some of the things that you can do.
How many upsells would you recommend, or is there a limit on how many upsells you would do?
So this is a great question. I think that the right answer is, I'll answer that by saying this, that what we do is, if somebody says no twice, we take them out of the sequence. So the problem is, when people say like, like when these guys offer 5 different upsells, I mean, I don't offer 5 upsells just because or add-on offers because not my thing. But the problem is not the quantity of offers. The problem is the quantity of offers to people that are not interested. And so when somebody says no 2 times, we take them out of the sequence, right? If we offer them something, they say no. We offer them a downsell, they say no. Or we offer them something else, they say no. We take them out of the sequence. I'm not going to hammer them. They said no twice already, right? But if they say yes, why would I take them out of the sequence, right? This is somebody that is obviously interested in getting more value. They're a buyer. They want to buy. It feels good to buy, right? Especially if this is more of what you want. And so we're going to give them the opportunity. But we typically, maximum, will go 4.
Earlier this morning, you talked to us about the front end quite a bit about bringing customers in, and you said to remind you to talk about the back end.
It's funny, it just reminded me of that next door as well. So yeah, this is what I said, and I think this is kind of a new bit of clarity for me personally. But this really came from, the question was, like Damien asked me. We created the Smart Funnel Formula, which was a $1,000 program, and it was offered on the front end. And Damien said to me, "Well, is that a front end product or is it a back end product? Is that a back end?" And I said, "It's a back end. It's a back end." And he was like, "I'm totally confused." And I was like, I'm a little confused. No, I was like, "Listen, this is the deal, and this is what I want you guys to understand that." And does anybody else have another question? Because this is going to be, you have a question? You both have a question? You guys have asked me 1,000 questions already. I'm just kidding. I'm going to wrap up with this answer, and then I'm going to hang out a little. I'm going to talk to the team, and then I'll hang out a little bit and I'll answer, because this is really important. This is the deal, right? The front end is all about acquiring customers. It's all about designing customer acquisition offers, right? It's all about acquiring customer, even if that means acquiring that customer at a loss, even if that means, right, like having 0 profit, right, or even losing money. It's all about designing offers that are for the purpose of acquiring customers, right? Think about it like, have any of you, who has not seen, well, everybody in this room has probably seen an offer from like a home security company where they say, $19, you get, 4 motion detectors in your home, you get this, you get that, you get blah, 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 monitor, you get 1 month of service, and it's $19, right? And then there's a little thing that says for first-time customers only. What is that? That's a customer acquisition offer. Right? That's not, they have to say this is for first-time customers only, right? But, we just don't mail that to existing customers, right? Like if they were smart, they wouldn't mail that either to existing customers, but, right? So that's a front-end offer. That's a customer acquisition offer. That's not an offer that they're going to build their business on. It's not an offer that where they're looking to generate their substantial profit. It's not the thing that they ultimately want to provide to the market, but it's an offer that they've put together to make it incredibly easy for prospects to become customers. And so the thing that I want you to understand is that prospects can receive front-end offers and back-end offers. Customers should only receive back-end offers. Let me say that again. Prospects can receive, of course, or should receive front-end offers, the $19, for motion detector offer, the low price thing that you're gonna outlay money or you're gonna break even to acquire them, And they can certainly receive the back-end offer, the $1,000 program, that's fine. But the customer should only receive back-end offers, right? The customer shouldn't receive the $19 gig. Just, like I said in there, like, I'm not against a tripwire, right? Like, there's uses for the tripwire, and so don't think that I'm bashing the tripwire. But let's say you have 4 tripwire offers in your business. You have tripwire A, B, C, and D. And then behind those tripwires, you have product A, like the thing that you'd ultimately love to, like, that's what you want everybody to buy. That's what you want to sell every month. You have product B, you have product C, you have product D. Let's say somebody comes into your tripwire funnel and they buy tripwire A. At what point, when should you, how many days later should you make them an offer for tripwire B?
Another front-end offer, so you shouldn't, right?
Exactly, right? They should not see tripwire B or C or D because that's a customer acquisition offer. We acquired the customer already. We're not exposing them to those. And so are you using real time? Like, I just feel like you were in here like 10 minutes, now it's 2 minutes?
Yes, it's real time.
And,
Expose them to the back-end offers after you.
that depends on the front end, that depends on what the front end is, it depends on your market. The right answer, or the safest answer for me to give you is right away. Like I said earlier, the segment to be prolific with is your customers. Don't be afraid of pissing them off. Like, that's don't be afraid of, like, this whole mentality of, like, they just bought something, I don't want to upset them. People like buying. You're giving them something of value. You're giving them something you need. You're not offering garbage. I understand if you're offering them garbage and you don't want to give them more garbage, but you're not. None of you are doing that, right? You're offering them something of value. And so these are people that raised their hand and said, yes. Yes, exactly. Yes, give them an opportunity to spend more. If they don't want to, they'll tell you, no thank you. But, so many marketers get caught up in, let me make an offer today to prospects. Let me make another offer next day, another day. They get aggressive with their prospects. The people that have not said yes to them once. Instead, be prolific with your customers, the people that have said yes to you at least once, right? And, the people that have said to you, the people that have said to you yes multiple times, those are the people that you should be most prolific with, right? Because they've shown you they want more. And so, does that make sense with the front end and the back end? I think that it's important because what it should start to frame for you guys, and maybe in the next MFA Live, we'll get to talk about how we segment our email follow-up and what that looks like, and what we do with, start to think about that now for what was I going to say? For what do you do with your unconverted leads that go through a funnel? Where do they go? What does that follow-up sequence look like? And what do you do with your customers, right? And what does that back-end segment look like? Because you've got really multiple sequences going on. You come up, Damien. You've got multiple sequences going on. You've got your funnel sequences, right? And when they're in those funnel sequences, they're not introduced to any other communications, right? They're active in that funnel. When they're done with that funnel, they go to one of 2 other destinations, depending on whether they're a prospect at the end of that or whether they are a customer, right? And so what they should get next and what they should see and what they shouldn't see depends on where they've been. If you want to really maximize your database, if you want to make big money, that's how you have to begin the thing. Does that make sense?
And there we go. My camera is gone, so I don't know what's going on. There's a major tech issue today, guys, so really sorry for that, but we'll hopefully get it back. There we go. So as Todd was talking about there, very, very critical to understand, first and foremost, optimizing your front end, but then the distinction between front end and back end. And a couple of things I want to draw your attention to before we cover any questions, if there are questions. First and foremost is a couple of things that Todd talked about in terms of when we're putting together our front end offers, we're looking to put together something, and his words exactly were something incredible that our potential customers would just go wild for. And that's key. It's the key is that we're putting an offer that is superior, irresistible, and a no-brainer that our new customers will go wild for and that they will want to take advantage of. Second thing I want to draw your attention to is that once someone becomes a customer, we no longer expose them to new front-end offers because we've already acquired that customer. We've already done the job to turn that customer from a prospect into a customer. So we no longer need to expose them actively to new front ends. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't expose themselves by going through another one of our funnels or another one of our processes or whatever the case is. They may just, start to drink that Kool-Aid, and if they buy one front end offer, they may, visit your website or whatever the case is and see that you have another front end offer or another offer on your website that is essentially a front end offer, and they may buy that and do that. But we don't actively consume them. We don't block them from doing it themselves, but we don't actively expose our newly acquired customers to more front end offers. And the reason is that our front-end offers and our back-end offers are not only two different things from a strategic point of view, but they're also two different things from how the offer is constructed and how the offer is presented and set up and so on and so forth in terms of price point, in terms of deliverables, and so on and so forth. So we want to make that distinction. So when we do acquire a customer, how we communicate to that customer should be different to how we're communicating to our prospects, because when we're communicating to our prospects, our goal of communicating to our prospects is to move them to become a customer. Our goal when we're communicating to our new customers and new clients is to add more value to them and see if our other available products and services are a fit for them. And if they are, we give them every opportunity to take advantage of them. That's essentially what we're doing. So front-end customer acquisition communication should be different than your back-end monetization communication. And like Todd mentioned, and this distinction can be key as well, like a prospect can receive a back-end offer as well as a customer can receive a back-end offer, but new customers should never receive front-end offers because they've already should have gone through the process of getting a front-end offer to become a customer. So I hope that makes sense, but essentially it comes down to, like, our business is split into two things. We have the front end and we have the back end. We use the front end to acquire customers. We use the back end to monetize those customers and add more value to them. That's essentially it. And when it comes to front end optimization, there are certain things that we can be doing, like Todd talked about, but that really boils down to that. And one of the biggest things that you could do from a front end point of view is have an insanely valuable front end offer that the market will go wild for. Like, one question we always ask ourselves is, what can we put out to the market? What's hot right now that the market would go absolutely wild for? Like crazy wild for. They're just going to say, oh my God, I need to get this. And for us, what we did is we put together this bundle for acquiring new customers and for acquiring new clients. And our bundle is available at toddsfreebook.com. This is our bundle that we've put together, that anybody has any interest at all, any minuscule interest at all in growing their business online and digital marketing, direct response marketing, once they see this offer, it is very hard for them to say no to it. And you can take a look at that from a research point of view and look at what we've done if you want to. If you don't have it, you should by all means go and get it because it's an insanely valuable offer. And you can get it at toddsfreebook.com. But in terms of us helping you put together a customer acquisition campaign, us helping you map out what you need to do to acquire customers at scale, to go from point A to point B in your business, whether that's going from 0 to 6 figures, 6 figures to 7 figures, or whatever the case is, and 7 figures and beyond, you can head on over to learnfromtodd.com. You can book a call with one of our E5 strategists, and they'll share with you how we're currently helping our clients get results in almost any niche. I think we're in 65 different niches in 45 different countries. We will share what we're doing with our clients to get the results. And if it's an option, we can discuss how we can work together and help you get similar results as well. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can go to learnfromtodd.com. You can book a call with one of our E5 strategists, and we will take it from there. Otherwise, what I'd like to say is thank you so much for joining in today. I hope you got some value from it. And bottom line, the kind of big takeaways I want you to know is that first and foremost, there's a distinction between the front end and the back end. And when it comes to optimizing your front end, like the key thing is, first and foremost, is having an offer that the your prospective customers will go absolutely wild for. And then from a kind of an optimization point of view, there are things that we can do, but essentially the main thing that we're looking at is our average order value or ROI from that. And all the other things are just optimization points. And then from like Todd was talking about, from an upsell point of view, if your customer says no more than 2 times, I mean, just take them out. I mean, they've said no. If they say yes, keep exposing them to offers. They're in that buying mode mentality, and that's fantastic. Let's see if we can add more value to them and make them buy again and again and again. And then the last thing is just in terms of communication. If you have a database, whether it's 200 people or 200,000 people, within that database, there's going to be customers and there's going to be non-customers. There's going to be prospects. And how we communicate to them, we have to be strategic about how we communicate, because we should be strategically communicating to our prospects in a way that moves them to become a customer. And we should be strategically communicating to our customers in a way that moves them to becoming repeat customers. 2-time purchase, 3-time purchase, 4-time purchase, coaching purchase, high ticket purchase, whatever the case is, but moving them, add more value to them, increase their lifetime value over a 30-day window, 60, 90, 180, and so on and so forth. But the outcomes are very, very different strategically, so we need to be strategic about how we communicate with them in the first place. And the simplest thing you can do is split your databases into prospect and buyer. Prospect and buyer. Now, you can get a lot more granular. You can do prospect, buyer, 2-time purchase, purchase over a certain amount, and so on and so forth. But at the bare minimum, you're like your front end and your back end. Communicate to those people in different ways, because it's going to lead to not only clarity for you, but clarity for them as well, because your existing customers are not going to be getting offers that are front end offers, and that, they may go out and buy it, but essentially what they're doing is just scratching that itch. They're just scratching that itch, and they're not, obviously you're not going to be putting out front-end offers that are bad, but they're not, like, in terms of your business from a profitability point of view, it's not going to add that much profit to your business. From their point of view, I mean, we do make our front-end offers as amazing as possible, yes, of course, but there's a reason why you have back-end offers, and it's because whether they're getting closer to you, they're getting more in-depth support from you, they're getting whatever it is they're getting from you, they have a better chance of success the more closer they get to work with you, and that's usually within your back-end offers and your back-end program. So hopefully that's clear. Hopefully you got something from this. If you did, and you'd like to find out more about how you can get our help, you can head on over to learnfromtodd.com. You can book a call with one of our E5 strategists, and they'll take care of you absolutely. And if you enjoyed this, let me know in the comments, and otherwise you can tune in next week, every week or every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We do these live trainings whether it's live snippets from Todd, an interview with somebody else, or a training from me, or whatever the case is, or maybe another member of our team. But every single week. I hope you enjoyed it, and tune in next week, and we will see you then. Thank you so much. Speak to you soon.
Yes, we teach marketing, but what we really do is change lives. That's the business we're really in. We just happen to do it through marketing education.
Like, people ask me all the time, they say, well, why don't you just go out and sell some widget, man? And look, I can. There's no doubt. But what excites me more is to know that I get the good fortune. I'm blessed to just be able to give to other people what it is that I've learned and watch their lives change.
right? We communicate with real people every day, with real dreams, real families, real fears, real needs. Or when somebody posts a picture online of something that they just bought their spouse, a MacBook Pro, or even cars, or we see somebody that is moving into a new home, or maybe their first home that they've never owned before. And I just know, man, that we're changing lives. There's just something, man, about seeing other people soar that juices me up.